My next guest, he is so locked into this one song. He is so locked into this one song, and I'm sure he would agree with me because it's one of those songs when you first heard it. You know, with certain times in life when the Yankees win the World Series, when President Kennedy got shot, the first time I heard this song, I was like, "Holy shit! Are you kidding? Where did they get this song?" One of the great rock and roll artists. He was here for the beginning. I got to ask him how he got the name of the group. I got him so many things. Ladies and gentlemen, this man, the legend, here he is, Jay Siegel and the Tokens. Jay.
How are you, Chaz?
How are you?
Thanks for having me here.
Oh, listen, a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be. First of all, Jay, you got to tell me. So, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Brighton Beach in Brooklyn, New York.
Okay. So, how's this kid in Brighton Beach in Brooklyn, New York, all of a sudden becomes this rock and roll star? How does this happen?
Oh, I was a rock and roll star.
Well, you know what I mean.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Well, I went to Lincoln High School in
Right.
Brooklyn, and I was in the chorus in Lincoln High School. And this kid was sitting next to me in the chorus. He was a year older than I was.
Yeah.
And he lived about 5 blocks from me in Brooklyn. And he said, "I'm starting a rock and roll group. I think your voice could really fit in what I'm looking for.
Right.
Will you want to come over to my house after school, and we'll sing a few songs and see maybe you could be part of the group?" And I did come to his house. He sat at the piano in his apartment and he played some songs. I sang some songs and I made the audition. And the kid's name was Neil Sedaka.
No way.
That was the kid.
Was it? Holy shit.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
And so, was Neil Sedaka in the original Token?
Yeah. We started the group together in Lincoln High School. And then one of the kids he was a year older than me. One of the kids that graduated with Neil was a friend of mine. The kid's name was Harvey Keitel.
Well, Harvey's a good friend of mine.
Yeah, I know Harvey for forever. You know, we had a lot of talent that came out of Lincoln High School. Neil Diamond went to Lincoln High School. Arthur Miller, who wrote Death of a Salesman, graduated Lincoln High School. Who else? Wow. Herbie Mann, the great jazz flutist. Yeah. All from Lincoln High School. All from
Lincoln High School.
Yeah.
So now, okay, so you had this group. And what did you start recording right away?
We went. Neil had Sedaka knew some people that could pay to get us into the studio. You know,
Right.
to make a couple of records. All that Neil wrote. We didn't. You know, most of the kids in high school and all the high schools in Brooklyn, they all had singing groups, but they used to sing the songs that they heard on the radio.
Exactly. There weren't many writers back then.
No, Neil, right. we did all original stuff, and I thought it was brilliant back then. I mean, he was a kid. He was like, I was 16 and he was 17 years old.
Wow.
You know? And of course, his neighbor that lived across the street was Howie Greenfield that wrote all the lyrics.
Howie Greenfield, that's right, I remember.
Howie wrote all the lyrics to those great songs.
They used to write in the Brill Building,
yeah,
if I remember, yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
So now, was he with you when you did Lion Sleeps Tonight?
No.
So this is years later.
Yeah,
right?
we did a couple of records together.
Right.
And then, they got regional play around New York, the tri-state area.
Yeah.
And then, Neil decided he's going to go on his own. And 2 of the guys in the original Tokens, myself and Hank Medras, we reformed the group again. And that's when we wrote and recorded our first million-selling record, which was Tonight I Fell in Love.
Oh, that was a great song.
Yeah, that was it, yeah. Oh, he knows.
I fell in love. That was a great song.
I was one of the first falsetto lead singers. We used to use a lot of the groups. Yeah, a lot of the groups didn't use falsetto as a lead.
As a
background part. But
right.
I made it into that was my signature thing.
So now Tonight you felt was that a big I don't know if it was number 1.
That was a top 10 record.
Top 10 record.
Top 10 record. It was number 1 in New York.
It was number 1. Well,
in New York. It was
now,
number 1 record.
After Tonight I Fell in Love, when did The Lion Sleeps Tonight come?
Well, tonight, about a year later, we went into the studio. We did Tonight I Fell in Love, and back in the 50s and 60s, there was these notorious record business.
Right.
We didn't know it was a business. We thought we're just making music.
Right.
Oh, you mean it's a business? So
we never got paid. People get paid.
No, we didn't get paid.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So we had a meeting with the president of Warwick Records. After we had Tonight I Fell in Love, and he said, we're leaving. We got an offer to go to RCA Victor. It's a major, worldwide label.
Yeah.
And he said to us, well, why are you leaving? I just gave you a big top 10, a major hit record. He said, why are you leaving? And without rehearsal, the 4 of us because they pay us. And we left him, and we went to RCA Victor. And we had one of the biggest producers there. They were called Hugo and Luigi, major producers for RCA.
Right. Wow. And did you get paid from them?
We got paid. I don't know if we got the right amount, but we
but you did.
At least we did get something.
At least you did get something. Yeah. Now, how did The Lion Sleeps Tonight come about?
Well, I was a very big fan of folk music back in the 50s. And I was listening to the radio one day, and there was an album that was on the radio. It was called The Weavers at Carnegie Hall. It was one of the biggest folk groups in the 60s, and they had this song called Whim Away. And it had no lyric. It wasn't The Lion Sleeps Tonight. It was just a falsetto lead with all this chanting in the background. And I said, wow, I love that. That's wonderful. I think I could do that falsetto. I could do that falsetto thing. And I taught it to the guys in the group. And we used to sing it just to warm up or to just for fun. And when we sang it for RCA, when we had a couple of records for RCA Victor that really didn't do that well. They were charted, but not really well. And we sang Whim Away. To our producer.
So just Whim Away.
Yeah, and with the falsetto, no lyric. It wasn't The Lion Sleeps Tonight. And they got in. They said, "Yeah, that's very interesting. I think it should have a lyric to it." And what is it about? It was an African folk song. It was about going on a lion hunt and singing an African lullaby, so the lion will go to sleep, and then we'll make the kill, and everybody will have lion meat for the. Anyway, so
it's amazing.
So George Weiss, he came up with the lyric of The Lion Sleeps Tonight. He's the guy that wrote "Can't Help Falling in Love."
Yeah.
He wrote "It's a Wonderful
Now,
World."
was Whim Away, was that public domain?
It was at that point, you know.
It was?
Yeah, it was.
It was, but then it changed after you wrote the lyric.
That's a whole other story
Right.
of a major lawsuit. But anyway, went into the studio, and I was handed on a legal pad the lyric to The Lion Sleeps Tonight. And it didn't really fit into the melody that I knew, so I had to create the melody in the studio, and I just rewrote the melody, and it was a very strange recording session. They had an opera singer from the New York Metropolitan Opera. Her name was Anita Darien.
Right.
And the rhythm instrument was one of them was a banjo and a soprano saxophone like Guy Lombardo. And it was like, we made this record, and it was the strangest. It was nothing like it, nothing like it at all. And the other guys in the group they didn't really want it to come out. They said, who's going to buy a record with an opera singer and
right.
whatever? Well, they did release it in 4 weeks. It became a #1 record in the country. It sold about 3 million records, and then it became a #1 record in 36 countries all over the world. So they tell me that every day, including today, that somewhere in the world our record is being played.
And you're not on it as one of the writers?
That was a big lawsuit.
Especially if you did the melody.
No,
I mean,
I
come
know.
on.
I'll tell you, here's one. The record was on its way. It took 4 weeks for it to come to become #1 nationally.
Right.
And when the record was on its way up, and they knew it was we published it because it was public domain, you know.
Right.
So our producer said that Folkways Music was another big folk
Right.
music publishing. They are claiming the rights to this song, and if you don't give up the rights to them, we're going to have to stop the promotion on the record. And here's 4 kids from Brooklyn. Well, we want to have a hit record. We don't want to take that chance, so we gave up the publishing.
To who?
To how it was called Abilene Music. It was one of the writers, George Weiss. And we
one
gave
of the
up
writers of the original.
He was just a publisher. He had his name
Those
on the
guys
record.
were just unbelievable.
Yeah, he had his name on the record as one of the music writers, which he had nothing to do with.
Wow.
And it was a big lawsuit and a whole big thing. And,
Wow.
And we couldn't afford to fight them.
I mean, none of those bands got paid back.
No, and we were in it for the artistic, making music. That's
Well,
what,
it was new. It was all new. Rock and roll was new.
we were kids. We were kids, and we didn't know that we were in the music business.
Right. Now, how old were you when it came out?
When The Lion came out, I was
Yeah.
like 21.
You were 21.
21.
And how old were the other guys in the group? Same age?
Hank was 1 year older than I was, and one kid was only 14. The 2 brothers, the Margot brothers. One was 14 and one was 19.
Holy Are they all alive?
No, I'm it. They're
You're
all
it.
gone. They're all gone. Yeah, but that started a major career, and we because after Tonight I Fell in Love, you remember the term one-hit wonders,
Yes.
and we said, well, what if we are one-hit wonders and they'll never hear about us again? So he said, why don't we learn about the record business? And we learned about the publishing end of it. We learned, we created our own record company, and we had a lot of success as record producers. The first big record we produced was a record called He's So Fine by the Chiffons.
By the Chiffons.
Yeah, we produced all that.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. So basically, you've been in the business since you were 15, 16 years old.
Since I'm a child. I'm still. I love the work. I look forward to, I look forward to the shows. I don't look forward to the traveling that much.
The traveling, yeah.
That's the job. The job is not the performance.
That's very true.
The job is getting to the performance, right? You would know that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I love doing the show, but I sometimes when I'm, traveling a lot, I'm not crazy about it.
Me neither.
Wow. That's it. Starting now, all right, so you were Neil Sedaka. You knew him. Do you still know Neil?
Oh, yeah, speak to him all the time.
Yes. I mean, he had a big career, too.
Major career. He wrote songs that were recorded by Sinatra, Elvis, the Carpenters.
So he was always a talented kid, even when he was 16.
Major song. Great performer, great artist.
How old is Neil Sedaka?
Neil would be 86.
86.
86, yeah.
Wow. I mean, I love having you guys on because I love having, I had Dion on this morning and Vito Pacone.
All my friends.
Yeah,
the first time I met Dion.
Yeah.
Do you remember a place in the Bronx called Freedom Land?
Oh, come on. Of course I do.
And they used to put these shows on in Freedom Land, and we did a show it used to be on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
And here's the lineup. You ready for this? Dion and the Belmonts, the Tokens, and the Count Basie Orchestra.
Wow.
How did that happen?
Where did that happen?
Yeah, that was in Freedom Land in the Bronx. That's when I first met Dion. That's how it's 1961.
What other did you know Bobby Darin?
Oh yeah, I knew Bobby Darin when he back, before he had the major career, when he had Splish Splash and
Splish Splash.
Yeah, I knew Bobby Darin because I used to work with Don Kirshner.
Don Kirshner.
I worked with him.
I remember him.
Yeah, Don Kirshner. He was partners with Bobby Darin.
That's right.
And I worked with Don Kirshner for about 7 years as a record producer. I produced music for TV. Yeah, right. And I worked on. Remember the rock concert show that used to be on?
Yes.
Yeah, I was the music coordinator on that show for Kirshner.
Now, who did you listen to back then? Who were your people that you loved?
When I was a kid, I used to go to the end of the dial on the radio,
right,
all the way at the end, because I used to listen to all the R&B artists like the Flamingos, the Cleftones, the Penguins, all the groups that had the beautiful harmony.
I really liked I loved the Belmonts, Dion and Belmont. They had great harmonies, and I also loved the Skyliners.
Oh, Jimmy Beaumont was terrific. Great. Old friend of mine, and what a beautiful voice he had.
Beautiful voice.
Yeah.
He had that harmonic sound. It was just wow, knocked me out.
He had great control.
Great control.
That's the
word I'm looking for.
Yeah, that's what Jimmy Beaumont.
Now, we're going to bring some of the guys of the group up now in a little while, but before we do that, I mean, a lot of these guys like me, what's his name, Frankie Valli, and a lot of guys, they don't sing no more. They lip sync. Now, I heard from people that your voice is still the same.
That's what they tell me. I could still sing in the same key. And they say,
how
do you
do it?
Yeah.
You don't even lower the key.
No, I'm still in the key of F. Yeah.
Holy shit.
When I get vocal problems, it does, sometimes, it happens to all of us.
Sure.
I don't lose my natural voice. That's what I lose first. My falsetto never leaves me. It always stays there. So I still got it.
Let me say, knock on wood. Yeah, knock on wood on that, because that's, I knew, I was friends with Tony Bennett, and he just sang till he was in his
unbelievable.
90, and he would hit these notes, and I'd be just like, damn. And I said to him, Tony, how do you do that? How do you still sing like that? And he just,
that's what I say.
You look at me,
it just comes out.
What do you want me to say?
It just comes out. When it stops coming out easy, then that's maybe when I'll stay home.
He just said, that's an amazing career you've had so far, Jay. I mean, that's pretty amazing. Do you ever look back and go, how did all this happen?
I sometimes I forget about all. Like I just saw a picture of Bob Dylan right here in your studio.
Yeah.
And I remember spending a whole 2 days with him, doing a lot of vocal backgrounds on his Highway 61 Revisited.
Highway
album.
61.
I
Great
sang
album.
on that album.
You did?
Yeah, I did vocals.
I mean, you're part of
for Connie Francis. I did a lot about Del Shannon.
Del Shannon.
If you listen to the falsetto harmony with Keith on a record called 98.6, you'll hear me singing with Keith.
Wow.
And we producing Tony Orlando and Dawn, all Candida.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get. I want to get all you guys that sang back then, because it's history, and I want my audience to know about history. I think that's real important. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to bring on the guys. I want to remind you all, if you want to come and see my one-man show, it's back on tour, the Broadway show. This is the original show that started it all. John, where am I going to be?
So October 4th, you're going to be in Mashantucket, Connecticut at the Great Cedar Showroom in Foxwoods Casinos. October 10th, you're going to be in Peekskill, New York at the Paramount Hudson Valley. October 12th, you're going to be in Des Plaines, Illinois at the Des Plaines Theater. And October 13th, you're going to be in Chicago, Illinois at the Columbus Day Parade Medal of Honor Award.
All right. Well, that's where I'm going to be, and I gave you like the next 5-6 weeks. But if you want to know where I am for the whole year, the Broadway tour schedule is go to ChazzPalminteri.net. ChazzPalminteri.net. Don't forget my restaurants, 2 of the great Italian restaurants, 30 West 46th Street, Manhattan, 365 Main Street in White Plains. My wine, the Cabernet wine. Where's my Cabernet wine? Let me get this. Here it is. Cabernet wine, it's sold at all the Stu Leonards and at your local wine store. Great Cabernet wine. I'm talking about great. It's only it was $22 because I wanted to make it a price for the working man, the working people. So, Kurt, you've been in the group 12 years.
Yeah.
12 years. And how did that happen? You just was auditioning?
No, I was with another group, Kenny Vance and the Planetones, whom you know very well.
I love that
of
group.
Of course, they have the great Johnny Gale, and I know you admire him.
Johnny, so
had
talented,
him do arrangements for your
Kenny
Bronx
Vance
Tale.
is one of my favorite. I just love his voice. I love the group, and they were great.
It was a wild set of circumstances. Kenny had a medical event that prevented him from singing for several years, but we didn't know that was going to be that long. And just a couple months after that, Jay lost his other frontline guy, the great Jay Traynor, who had been the original Jay in Jay and the Americans. He'd been his frontline guy for like 8 years, and Jay passed. He had a bunch of gigs on the books, and he called Kenny and said, "Can I borrow Frenchie till you get better?"
Right.
And we thought it'd be like 6 months or something, and Kenny didn't sing for about 3 years, and I just ended up staying with Jay, and one of the best fortunate experiences that happened for me, I got to say.
Wow.
Love Jay Traynor, man. He was a wonderful guy.
So he just passed away?
Well, 14 years ago.
14 years ago.
Jay Traynor is the guy who made their first big hit record, She Cried, by Jay and the Americans. He was the lead singer.
That's right.
He was the original Jay.
The original Jay was not Jay Black. It was Jay Traynor.
Jay Traynor, that's right. And when she told me.
That's very good.
She cried. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
But my first gig when I came to New York in 71 was the original Broadway show of Jesus Christ Superstar. And I was Ben Vereen's understudy.
Wow.
And I was also playing the high priest Annas. And when Norman Jewison came to check out the show, because he had been given the contract from Universal Pictures to do the movie, he liked the way I did Annas, and I got the principal role in the film.
Jesus Christ Superstar. What year was this?
Well, the show opened October of 71.
71, that's correct.
And the movie we shot in November of 72 between a couple of wars, between the Israeli and the Egyptian wars, and the movie came out in 73.
73. Okay, I'm going to tell you about the show. I was 19 years old. I was studying to be an actor, and I went to audition. I'm going to be quick. I talk about it. But I went to audition for that, and I got 8 callbacks. They kept, I don't know if you remember, they kept calling people back.
Yes, I did 5.
I did 8 and had to do the dance and everything, and it was for St. Peter.
Peter, the apostle.
And
Peter.
I got cut like the very last time, but when you said that, I would remember.
Wow,
and I was totally raw, no studying, no nothing at that time. And then I knew, I said, well, I'm going to keep on trying, and finally, God willing, it worked out. Yeah. But anyway, so you got a very high voice.
I do. I had a high tenor, and I've still got it, thank God.
Because if you understudied Ben Vereen, that is, I know that part.
Ben didn't like to do matinees either, so I used to go on, because Judas is a killer part for anybody to do 8 shows a week.
I don't know how anybody does Judas 8 shows.
I don't either. And they finally split it.
Right.
They brought in the guy who did the movie, Carl Anderson, the late Carl Anderson, and Ben and Carl would split the
Right.
weeks because it was a killer on your throat.
Now, Gabe.
Well, he left out one he was in the movie Hair as well.
Oh, Hair.
He was in that movie.
I'd been called to do the soundtrack, the pre-record for the movie.
Right.
You know, when you do movie musicals, you
Right.
pre-record everything.
Yeah.
And Milos saw me and he said, I need somebody to do this number with Nell Carter, the late Nell Carter.
Sure, yeah.
And we do this big production number on camera called Ain't Got No around the Bethesda fountain.
Yeah.
It was just choreographed by Twyla Tharp and I've had some
Yeah.
fortunate
You got a great
experiences.
voice. Oh, absolutely.
You had a lot of hair too, right?
Oh man, I had me some hair back then,
Yeah.
Chaz.
So, Gabe, and how did you get involved in this whole thing?
Well, I became friendly with Jay. I know Jay for about 21 years.
So you know
Oh yeah,
him that long.
because I have a group, an a cappella group. So I sang on the circuit with my group on all the shows that he was on.
One of the best on the Northeast.
Right.
And we became friends over that course of that time. And unfortunately, Billy Reed, who was the other member of the Tokens, he had passed away.
Right.
And I got a phone call from Jay, and he's like, so I have a tough decision to make, and what do you think about becoming a Token? And I'm like, what?
Right, yeah.
And he's like, I know that you have the tools, but I need to know that you're going to fit in. So come to my house for a tryout on Friday.
Right.
And I went to his house with the keyboardist, and he's okay. We have a dress rehearsal on Sunday, and
He had to get
I
it
was
together
like,
fast.
it was lightning fast, and then
I remember you sitting out in the parking lot.
yes,
just
I was
before the show,
I'm telling
going
pacing
over it,
like a
working
madman.
hard.
Right.
And then I'm kind of getting off the stage from that dress rehearsal show. It was called Doo-Wop Weekend. He's like, well, he goes, you have it, but is it okay with Chris, my wife?
Well, now, for people who don't know, he's a very well-known doctor. So here's a doctor. That's his day job.
Yeah.
And
that's my first gig.
Well, I said to Gabe, I mean, you're an orthopedic surgeon. You're working all the time, and you do classic sounds. You're a cappella group.
Right.
I said, what about Chris? Wonderful, his wife, beautiful, wonderful person. I said, if she's not good with this, I'm not good with this, because if you're going to take the gig and she's not going to be happy, then that's not going to be a good situation. If it's okay, I said to Gabe, if it's okay with your wife, then you're in.
And I had to call her up and confirm it with him that she was okay with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, your wife is
impressive.
So, and you, I mean, you're a doctor, a respected doctor, but I bet you enjoy this.
You know what? My heart was always in music. Always sang. I did plays. I actually did Jesus Christ Superstar in high school and elementary school, and that's like crazy connections between us.
Right.
And it just never leaves you. I became a doctor, and I just always wanted to sing, and God gives you the opportunities to do everything.
Right. Now, on the gigs you do, and any one of you could answer this, how many do you do where it doesn't interfere with your practice?
I mean, fortunately, I'm one of the few guys that are still in private practice, so I control my own schedule. So I make it work. I have enough. I have coverage, and I make it work.
He hasn't missed a gig yet.
Not yet. I don't want to say. But
Yeah,
one of the
let's
things we
not
do, before we do our big closing number, The Lion Sleeps Tonight, I say to the audience, I hope this works, because if it doesn't work, we're all out of a job.
And I'm like, I like this job. I just
And
started.
then Gabe says, I love this job. I said, but you're a doctor.
Right.
You have something to fall back on.
Right.
And Gabe says, yeah, but it's not as much fun as this.
Now, is your closing number always Lion?
Yeah, usually it is. Yeah.
Usually it is. And you start off with Tonight.
Our first, we opened up with our first big hit record,
Tonight I
which was
Fell,
Tonight I
yeah.
Fell in Love. Yeah, that's how we opened the show. So we're right in. Everybody knows that song. They're singing along, and then we do a lot of original songs that we wrote, and we do some covers as well.
Now, when you do a show, how long usually is it, Jay?
Well, if it's a multi-act show, we could do anywhere from a half hour to 20 minutes if there's 4 or 5 acts on the show, or we could do up to 75 minutes. That's about the most we can do. Yeah.
Wow, 75. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's I mean, you're on stage there. Wow, there.
That's a
Have you
long
guys
time.
ever thought about working Las Vegas?
No, it seems like such a wonderful thing. We've worked Las Vegas. It sounds good.
Yes, I know. I did Vegas.
It sounds good. Atlantic City, it sounds good, but it's okay. It doesn't matter if we go there or not. But we've been there a couple of times.
He's a hardcore New Yorker. He's just always going to be here.
You rather stay here?
I'd rather drive to a gig than go to an airport.
Yeah, I'm like that. And I have to go to airports a lot, and I rather drive. I don't drive, but I rather,
My friend Bobby Falcone.
Bobby's been with me for like 30-something years.
The most nervous guy I ever met in my life. The nicest guy, Bobby.
Don't tell me. Please, Bobby's with me 35 years. I know Bobby. Bobby's like a wreck.
I know. I always say when I see Bobby, I said, "Where's your car keys?" Because I remember in a couple of gigs, he
lose everything.
He couldn't find his keys. He was going crazy.
Yes. Well,
what a nice guy, Bobby.
Yeah. Well, I have two guys. I have Bobby Falcone. I have Sandy Blue Eyes.
Sandy Blue
Eyes. He's
Eyes.
another. Sandy Blue Eyes he's one of those other maniacs who's got his own.
We know Sandy.
Yeah, I'm sure you know Sandy.
Chevelle SS.
Yeah, Sandy's always his life is in one stratosphere. Bobby Falcone's in the other stratosphere, and I try to bring them both down to earth. But But they're great. They're great. They've been with me for a long time. They've both been with me for a long time. So we're closing out now. Is there any gigs you want to talk about that are coming up?
Well, we have a big gig coming up at the PNC.
What's the PNC?
It used to be called the Garden State Art Center. It's a big amphitheater.
South Jersey. Okay.
No, we did the last time. We play there every year. The last time we did it with Tony Orlando, actually, and there were like 13,000 people.
Wow.
He wanted Jay to be there. It was a presentation of the Francis Albert Sinatra Award for Humanitarian. And,
how nice. Now, so do you want to, what's the date on that?
That's going to be in, I think, September 18th or 19th.
September 18th or 19th at the PNC.
PNC.
Yeah. And like Nancy, right?
Beautiful New Jersey.
Okay.
Just a beautiful
I'm going to ask you something. You could say no.
No.
No, it's okay to say no. But because I like to ask, could you do a little just something before you sign off? Is that possible? Not his whole song, like 8 bars.
You mean like the Lion Sleep song?
No,
because the Lion Sleep tonight is like a nighttime song.
It could
I
be
don't
any,
do that in the daytime.
No, it could be anything, just even a harmony, just to have that. Anything.
You want to hear a little bit of that?
Anything.
We'll do a little.
Anything.
We'll do a line.
So do I do it in the right key? I'll do it in the key of F.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we mow it, 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 we mow it, oh, 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 we mow it.
Yeah.
Man, that was great, man. That was great. Yeah. Great. All right. Don't forget, next week at 11 o'clock every Monday, come and see the Chazz Palminteri Show. God bless.